So Alissa Sanchez is my full name, and I am a director in our business development group for Ormat. And my job is focused on environmental permitting of our greenfield and some of our repower projects for Ormat. My main area, I guess, spatially that I work in is in California, and then some in our Hawaii project that we have. And it's it's a lot of work to get our projects from an exploration phase to a development phase, and then also to work with our projects that are existing, especially some of our California projects where they've aged over time, and we work on repowers for those to make them more efficient.
That's wonderful. No, that's very exciting to hear all of the things that Ormat's doing, but also in the geothermal space when it comes to development. Can you share a little bit about your journey into the field, not just working for Ormat, but really into environmental permitting, environmental stewardship, and what really gets you excited about this space?
Sure. So I think I always knew I was going to end up in some sort of capacity working in an environmental field. My background is actually I have a bachelor's in chemistry, and I actually ended up in Reno because I came here to do my master's work at UNR and get a master's in atmospheric science. And from there, and before then, I had actually already started working in environmental research, and then eventually into the realm of permitting and doing work in the NEPA field, National Environmental Policy Act, for those that don't know, and now more so into California's Environmental Quality Act work. So I'm very, I guess, passionate about the environment and making sure that we, are following the full suite of our requirements to abide by regulation, and just have really enjoyed having that opportunity because you really do get a very broad uh, ability to educate yourself and others on, really what is important on trying to develop a project or even go explore in a project and see, between what's existing and what you would like to do on the surface and make it into an actual project is really neat.
Absolutely. And I can totally sit here and, toot you guys horn because I think you guys are all incredible. But I think it's really amazing that Ormat has three directors in business development that are all female. And, constantly what we hear in this space is, permitting, permitting, permitting. How can we streamline permitting? How can we get projects online faster? How empowering is it to be in this space, to see projects go through, to have this knowledge base that everyone is kind of looking for as a solution to bring projects online faster?
So I definitely feel like we're unique in this space of yes, we happen to be females, but we happen to be well educated in our areas and our fields of expertise. And it takes time, and it's taken years for someone like me to really have gone through the training and working with agency and writing. I think was a big part of my development in understanding what needs to be evaluated. When we're talking about environmental resources like air quality, which is my specialty, but other things like biological and water quality, where I actually started was in water quality. So there's a lot more to it, and really you get a respect for it once you do kind of dig in and work in this arena, and you get an appreciation for agency just for the levels of review and responsibility. And our job is really to get that a driver's license, I guess, with agency or stakeholders, really, to be able to do these exciting type of projects.
Of course, and you're such a wide range of knowledge and an expert. I feel like on all things, air quality, water, for, students who are looking at getting into geothermal or, the environmental background or the permitting background, what would you say to them as they're going along with this process?
So I think something that is important is, and things that I did is I did, classes like environmental justice, and environmental law. I took very broad science-based um, courses. I took a NEPA course as a night class once, and really it draws you into not only how we've gotten to where we're at, but also more recent issues and developments that have really changed the arena of environmental and permitting. And I think right now renewable is so exciting that you see it actually as a degree track with a lot of universities. And I think just even in, trying and taking those type of courses, obviously math and sciences go hand in hand, but there are courses out there in renewables. And then, specialized training is offered all over the country for both NEPA and CEQA, really to get your feet wet.
Absolutely. So it sounds like there's a lot of great opportunity, a lot of places to grow, a lot of educational resources that are out there. I want to take us to talk a little bit about the challenges of permitting and kind of what goes into it, and hurdles that you maybe had to overcome within this space. And continuing, just ongoing of just kind of the permitting environment and kind of what that looks like and how that kind of that helped shape, your career in any way, or is there something that you're really, really proud of that you were able to overcome?
Well, I think the biggest thing that has shaped me is that permitting takes time and patience. And I use the word respect because you, it doesn't happen overnight. And you really have to have a very thoughtful process and understanding of what it's really going to take to get it across the finish line. And a lot of that is based upon, very good communication, very good stakeholder engagement, and the quality of what you're putting together to not only propose, but what you've evaluated and what's been surveyed in that area to make sure that's the right place for your project too. We talk about time and place a lot for environmental permitting, and sometimes it's not the right place or it's not the right time for something, or there has to be additional, research or data collection before we can move ahead. So that really has shaped my opinion and how I approach and how I look at things. Is I think in reality, be ready that there will be changes. No project is ever perfectly proposed, so flexibility has to be built in, and it's important to understand that even during the permit process, some of the hurdles that we might encounter are changes in regulation or, agency having a different interpretation than you're expecting on some regulations. So we're in a very interesting time, obviously, but we do have a good base for environmental regulatory framework, and I think that's what we hold on to as and can understand is really going to be how we navigate forward.
Absolutely. No, I think communication is definitely key. And as you mentioned, right now is a great time for geothermal, but I think a lot of that also is relationship building. So I'd love to talk about the different boards that you sit on in Imperial Valley, with the GR, and in the work that you are doing there.
Sure. Well, one that I'm very fond of is this year I was asked to serve as the chair of the Geothermal Rising Tribal Working Group. And I was born and raised on my own reservation, and it's really near and dear to my heart to make sure that tribal communities are always involved and evolving when it comes to the front of environmental. So that's exciting work to do this year. And I look forward to its culmination when we have the conference in October here in Reno, actually. And we get to see tribal entities and other groups come together to share in their stories and opportunities of growth in renewables for tribal lands. And the other board that I was nominated into last year is the Imperial Valley Economic Development Committee, and I serve as one of the board members. And Imperial Valley is very near and dear to Ormat, and my second home. In reality, you know, Ormat has been operating now for 60 years, and a lot of those years have been spent in Imperial Valley. And we're not going anywhere. We have very exciting new projects. One that we're in the permitting phase that's close to the finish line now, and another one right on its heels being proposed for a total of 50 megawatts of power opportunity. So it's exciting for me because we're going to, we're assisting in meeting California's, clean energy. I don't want to call it demands, but their participation in getting renewables on the grid.
I think that's wonderful. And I think that there's such a bridge between development and community and that synergy when you could make that positive impact. And you said we've been in, Imperial Valley for a really long time, but we've also been impacting, communities there. Can you talk about kind of the work that's being done there and how, important that is for you as you're sitting on these boards and as we're permitting projects, to really ensure that the communities are benefiting as well?
Absolutely. Imperial Valley, I mean, has a very diverse community, and we can't just operate somewhere without being part of that. And then the efforts to make sure that we're also part of that lifting up and working with the next generation. So we actually do and work with programs that promote children for school and their needs. I know that we work with the technical college on further education in case they're interested in coming into the field and working for Ormat. So there's also other functions that we do with like the Boys and Girls Club and local high school and sports teams. And then we also do work with the food bank when we can, and in making donations that can really help people that need it the most.
I love that. And I love something that you said of lifting up. I love the slogan, like lifting as we climb. And I think that's really important as we're considering areas and projects that are in development to ensure that we're, lifting up the people that are around us. So I would love to ask, who has been your biggest inspiration in your career, or do you have a role model or someone that has helped lift you as you've grown in your career?
I would have to say my mother, who's passed on, but she never gave up. She decided to get her master's degree late in life, and was really, to me, a rock star when it came to not only empowerment as a woman, but empowerment as in the Native community. And she went on to really work hard in assisting and educating others and holding her language and, just making sure that people were well taken care of and that, that the world was a community really, and taught me a lot about what I carry on with beliefs and sustainability and just working and being around others to always be giving back. So her work ethic still lives with me, definitely.
I love that. And I know I asked a tiny bit about you about, women coming into the field who want to go into environmental permitting. Do you have any advice for aspiring women who want to come into the geothermal field? There's a lot of buzz around geothermal, but still, I think women represent a very small number of the workforce in this industry. So do you have any advice for women entering this field?
I would say if you have the passion, you can definitely work in this industry. You don't have to have the perfect fit of the degree, but obviously we have a very excitingly diverse group of people who do have some background as engineers. I know I mentioned I myself am a chemist, but we have people who are biologists. We have people who have degrees in the GIS field and some in environmental, and there's multiple in like environmental management and so forth. So I think there's really a broad range of even like something like yourself, Marisol, where you're in communications or public affairs is very relevant in a large, area that geothermal really covers because we have even a regulatory affairs person. So there's a lot of backgrounds that can fit into these type of jobs, not only at the corporate level, but then even in our operations and so forth. And I think that's why I like that we do help at technical college levels with people who are interested in actually going into operations. And we have a fantastic, resource drilling team, and those are the geologists, right? The people who really are in the dirt, as you would say, and even hydrologists. So I think there's such a broad range of people who work at our company that it really opens up people's eyes to, this could be something that they could, prioritize and make a go.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great advice that geothermal is really accessible for anyone looking to come into the industry. It doesn't need to be a specific specialty, but you can find a home here. And with that, it can't be work all the time. And there needs to be obviously some work-life balance. I would love to hear a little bit more if you're willing about your hobbies and in your family and kind of what brings you joy outside of work.
Well, I think something that brings me joy is that I'm a seamstress, and that's kind of my biggest hobby that I'm known for. I mentioned my mom, and what she taught me was sewing, beading, and doing a lot of our traditional regalia making. So that is what I do in a lot of my free time locally, and I do travel a lot to, go to celebrations and just tribal, do a lot of tribal engagement just with communities and stuff, just on a personal note. So, and those mostly are powwows or, other things like round dances going on right now. So that brings joy to me. And I love that my children love to participate and, are taking it on themselves now. So really, I feel, the obligation to be teaching that to my kids. And I feel really proud that, they're following in these footsteps and just blazing a path for themselves and seeing, what the world really has to offer.
I love that. And that's a great segue. I keep catching on to like these great phrases and slogans you're saying, but blazing a path forward. Could you share some of your future goals?
Oh boy, future goals. Oh,
Personally, professionally, where you see yourself in the next 5 years? I know that's such a question that everyone asks, but any future goals to really, where you see yourself kind of blazing that path forward?
um, I in the next 5 years, I would still see myself here at Ormat. It's very fulfilling, and like I mentioned, environmental permitting takes time. So I wish I could say I'd have a million projects permitted in that time frame, but really, I just see such opportunity in this arena and a lot of work to do to meet really not only our local but our global need for renewables. So I see myself working to champion and others that are in our company who are up and coming and others who may join us to really just um, get behind their passion in their work and um, you know work towards this greater good in renewables.